Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a update on the um, progress. I'm actually going to drop the volume on the desktop audio because there's a reason for that. The desktop or the sound that comes with the game is a little bit imbalanced. I'm still working on it. But so I wanted to walk through some of the changes that I have and updates that I've made to the game Ride or Die. Now this game is fully playable and up on itch.io under the name Ride or Die. So this was initially built as a group project, and for that project, I was the level designer. So we'd gone through a couple of iterations trying to figure out like how to build a map, how to paint it, make everything look good, how to make it feel right. And we had ultimately used a height map that we had received from a pack, this rock and sand pack, which helped provide some of the textures and materials for the landscapes. And I had sort of helped shape and cut down that landscape because originally it was super massive and just not super playable. But for the purposes of showing off sort of the elements that I personally had a hand in, I went ahead and took some skills that I've picked up recently. Specifically, I learned how to get height map data and import it from real-world locations. So the height map here is of the Yosemite Valley. This being like El Capitan over here, Half Dome is right here with Bridal Veil, etc. if you know the geography of the zone. And then I took the materials and landscape stuff that we already had and worked on painting it myself. Now, I'm fully painting it myself. I've been sort of messing around a little bit trying to find the balance because it came with additional textures and cliff textures that I would love to see on these faces here since we have more of traditional cliffs. Still working out the mechanics of how to employ that. See, as you can see here, I'm getting some cliff material which should be on the cliffs over here and nothing but the sort of the color height map stuff on the cliff sides. So I'm still kind of working out some of the landscape painting stuff. But when we come over here, we can kind of take a look at some more of the elements that I personally had a hand in. So as level designer, I was in charge of the space. So I ultimately ended up taking up like helping build and shape the level, as well as the obstacles within it. And then I helped build our power-ups and our pickups. So we had two types of pickup or interactable items. We had our power-ups, which is a simple heal, a shield, which drops or stops incoming damage, and a radiator, which does radial damage surrounding the vehicle. And then we have pickups, which are basically just ammo pickups. These just sort of add ammo back into the tank so that you can continue to fire your really cool weapons. I also built, since the car we imported was basically the stock vehicle it was the stock vehicle for the vehicle pack that comes with Unreal Engine. So very standard element there, but I wanted to have things from which our weapons and our projectiles would be firing. So I built a simple rocket launcher here entirely in Unreal Engine. And then I built a flamethrower and a machine gun turret. So if we go to our vehicle here, actually it's already up. So I basically just built those and added them in with some additional elements. So those are the weapons that I built, and these are the pickups to basically refill on that ammo. Then I built spawners for each. So there's the power up pickup spawn that's going to spawn randomly these items here. So it'll randomly spawn either the shield generator, the irradiator, or a health pickup. And then I have a ammo pickup. They're effectively the same, they just randomly pull from different pulls. I wanted them to be different so that if the player circles back, they always know they're going to find a power up in a certain area, and they're always going to find ammo in a certain area, make it at least a little bit predictable. I also built a relatively simple gas station and gas station pumps, some of which make for very fun little jumps and jump ramps. I also took some of the baseline and I just threw some rust material on top of it and just buried them in the sand as like some simple obstacles within the game. I also built a cactus. Skin's not great, but simple it's just you hit it, you take a small amount of damage. It's a relatively simple thing. I also built a very fun browse asset. Let's pull that up. I built a really fun mechanic for the for quicksand. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words today. So the mechanics for that are among the things I am the most happy with. Let's see if I can find it. Some of these blueprints have gotten very intense. Okay, so it took a long time for what ultimately ended up being a relatively simple code. I was trying to figure out how to slow the vehicle and make hitting the quicksand feel really gnarly. So I ended up building a enter sand event, which is called as soon as you enter the quicksand area. And then it basically just calls this event, which slows the vehicle by applying force in the opposite direction of the vehicle. And in so doing, makes it so that basically the car just slows down drastically. And then when you leave this quicksand, it leaves. I had been trying to tool around with all sorts of mechanics for that, including affecting like the torque curves and stuff like that. And ultimately the simple solution was simply to just keep it easy and just apply force in the opposite direction of the vehicle is headed. The other thing with the original level, and I can show you that real quickly, is that I didn't want it to feel like a giant fishbowl. So I had tried to figure out a way to create a method of sort of blurring the edge of the map. I had found a mechanic of basically building a blueprint which creates a sandstorm that constantly surrounds the character. And that was cool, but I was worried about doing that full scale. I'm actually going to widen this so it's a little harder to see the edge when you're down low or when you're up high. So I instead decided to try and make a sandstorm wall, which is then guarded by the quicksand. The idea being that when you get close to the edge of the map, you're going to find a lot of quicksand because you're entering near a sandstorm. And the quicksand is bad because zombies are constantly spawning near you, so you need to stay away. So the hope is that players start seeing a lot of quicksand and they just stay away from the edge of the map naturally, so that they're not hitting a solid wall, but it also doesn't feel like they're just boxed in. So I added a volume here, a local fog volume, and adjusted the albedo and the density, and then I added this material. I believe we're rocking this one here, but they're both effectively the same. The material, there's a couple versions of it, but relatively simple, relatively easy item. And it's just basically a couple of masks and panners, just layered one on top of another with different levels of opacity, and just kind of added onto each other and stacked to create a visual which, from the player's standpoint, kind of just looks like a sandstorm. Looks like somewhere I don't want to be, which was ultimately the hope. So by having it, like, you can get right up close to this and it starts looking like, ooh, I should not go there. But the map, very cool, just like gone pretty quickly after this. So you can get pretty darn close to the edge of the map here, and you wouldn't know you're right near the edge of the map. That was really important to me. I hate when levels that shouldn't feel like boxes feel like boxes. And so any way I could mask that in a more natural way, I wanted to do. So sort of just some of the simple visual elements that I've added. I will do a quick video of the playthrough. Oh, real quickly, sorry. So for those of you who've already seen some of the playthrough and who have already seen some of what I've built, I have recently updated a couple of things. So I made some more realistic metal textures and an improved version of both the shield material. I was using some stock materials for those, and a material here for the irradiator. This one's really fun. I took an idea that I was sort of learning from a pulsing from a video I was watching, actually, specifically for the for the shield mechanic, and I kind of twisted it a little bit. So they're functionally very, very similar. The only difference is that I took a slightly different material, and I also added in a sine wave. So the sine wave here basically helps it kind of pulse from a light color. Actually, I might swap these. Never mind. Well, I've been sort of playing with some of the colors a little bit. I kind of like that. I'd save that for now. Anyway, so you get a vector to radial value, you run it through a panner, and you run it through your texture, and it kind of creates this motion. And by layering them, it makes it not feel super homogeneous, which was my hope. And so we're just blending a bunch of textures together to create this kind of like masked, opaque visual here. So, and that's sort of what it ultimately looks like from here. But let's go ahead and show you in game. All right, so you can hear some of the sound effects there. I didn't build a nav mesh because I didn't work on the zombies, and they're not my favorite so far. Still kind of working on trying to figure out if I can put my own spin on it. But so this is the shield mechanic. So this stops all incoming damage. And then we have our radiator. So I was using sort of a stock material for this originally, and now it kind of creates this kind of field, which is pretty cool. Now I'm hoping to find some ways to see how it kind of bounced like that. I'm hoping to find a way to kind of blur and mask the edge a little bit so it doesn't have such a hard edge, but I'm still working on that. I think I just need like a mask and a blend to help it with that. But that's some of what I've added there. Still, still working on mastering some skills here and figuring out how to paint the environment in a way I'm a little more happy with. I've been playing around with the different textures and stuff and seeing if I can't get a little bit more of a texture and kind of vibe that I'm hoping for a little bit. Because like there's a couple zones over here that need a little TLC, but that's where Ride or Die is right now. Again, if you guys want to, take the game for a test drive, you can see sort of an older version of it that me and my team all worked on over on itch.io. So we got skychamp.itch.io, Ride or Die. It's going to look like this. These are my teammates here who've all helped enormously in the creation. Some of these like nanite and some of the other, a lot of the other mechanics, the combat mechanics for the zombies and how they move, and a lot of the gun functionality, flamethrowers and stuff. Those were all sort of done by our really wonderful team. Real quick, I did have a other thing that I was messing with. So our team had created a sphere trace nanite flamethrower, and I didn't love it, so I changed it. So it's still not quite how I want it to. I think it needs some like additional motion, and we need to adjust how the sound is played. So it should play while clicked as opposed to playing for every shot fired. It's a small adjustment there because that doesn't sound right. But I do really like the slight improvement. So if you play the game and you see the flamethrower, this is sort of one of the things I was sort of playing with to create a more realistic fire effect. And I think it came out pretty good. But yeah. So that's Ride or Die. I hope you guys liked some of what you saw, and I highly encourage you guys to go check it out on itch.io. Let me know how you guys feel about it.